Hey there, Michael Church with Crawlspace Ninja, and today I want to talk about the termite gap. Stay tuned. Okay, so around the country, the termite gap isn't really recognized because if you live in a state that doesn't have termites, you don't really need to worry about it. But it does come up in the South quite a bit, and I'm sure if your state has termites, you may or may not be used to dealing with the termite gap in the crawl space. But what one of our DIY customers asked is, what is the termite gap? How long, how high or whatever does it need to be? And can I insulate the sill plate? Okay, so just so you know, the sill plate is the piece of wood typically that sits directly on the foundation wall. Now the foundation wall could be brick or block or concrete or stone or whatever that is. We've even seen foundation walls made of wood. So, but it's that top, that piece of wood. Typically it's a pressure treated piece of wood that sits directly on the block foundation or the concrete foundation. Okay, so it would make sense that you would be able to spray foam that sill plate if you're concerned about getting air from the outside, because the sill plate normally doesn't sit flush on the block. So why not be able to air seal it? A long time ago, they used to put a piece of metal between the block, the foundation wall, and the sill plate, which was considered a termite barrier, but they found out that didn't really work. Now builders today are actually using a piece of foam that they roll out on top of the block and they set the sill plate on top, and that seems to be acceptable by code. But if your house doesn't have that, then air can just roll right through from the outside to the inside, or it's possible that it could. So the way we understand in our state, okay, and even in the local municipality, you got to be careful because you need to ask your local codes enforcement about this kind of stuff. You are allowed to put a bead of spray foam or caulk where the sill plate meets the block, but you can't put it down on the block. Okay, so it's got to be a really fine bead, maybe a 3/8 inch or a 1/4 inch bead that you can do that. Now again, don't take my word for it without checking with your local municipality to see if you can do that, okay? Because in Tennessee, you're supposed to have a 3-inch minimum gap between the sill plate and the top of the vapor barrier or the top of the foam board. And in Georgia, it's a 6-inch minimum gap, and Kentucky could be different, you know, Missouri could be different, whatever. So make sure you check your local codes enforcement for that. But here's what I don't understand, and I'm not against the termite gap. One of the things that drives me crazy is they don't really require a termite gap in a basement, but they do in a crawl space. Okay, so I get it. You know, a crawl space has a dirt floor and all that, but basements are not immune to termites. So you can put your drywall up, you can do all that. You don't have to expose the sill plate or the 3-inch, 6-inch, whatever at the top. You can just hide all the basement wall, and that's okay. But for some reason in crawl spaces, they have all these special rules that you have to follow. So anyway, check with your local state, see if the termite gap is required, and remember to keep it a minimum. Okay, so it's a minimum, all right? So if it's 3-inch, you can actually be 12 inches below the sill plate and you're fine, okay? The other minimum is you're supposed to be 12 inches above the earth, okay? So you're supposed to put the plastic a minimum of 12 inches above the earth and attach it to the foundation wall. So there is no maximum as long as the plastic is at least 12 inches above the earth on the wall attached, and there's at least 3 to 6 inches below the sill plate, depending on what state you're in. So anyway, Michael Church talking about termite gaps. I don't know why it's such a big deal, but they make it a big deal. And you know, the pest control people that I've talked to do like being able to go in and see it. As a matter of fact, we had a pest control company, I think it was in North Carolina, he sent us a video of the termite gap and all the tunnels that he was able to see because of the termite gap. But again, why don't they require that in basements? I don't know. Anyway, Michael Church, Crawlspace Ninja. Hope you're making a happy and blessed day, and we'll see you later.